G'day viewers and welcome to Blokesworld in Vietnam. The Central Highlands of Vietnam to be exact, and I need to be specific about that because we're riding through just a small part of this awesome country and I reckon we'll be back for more in a future series. We're riding with Lucky Bastard Motorcycle Tours on a 5-day ride starting from the coastal tourist city of Nha Trang, looping up into the highlands and back again. We're starting day 4 right now, riding from Lac Lake, which is a sleepy little place full of elephants and some pretty bad singing, to the city of Buon Ma Thuot. So sit back while we fire up the XR150s and completely ignore the road rules, just like the locals. You're watching
Blokesworld!
Well, today was the first day of the tour that we've actually woke up feeling a little bit seedy. It was the night after the big, what guess you'd call old blokes crashing an 18th birthday party at a karaoke night, if you saw last week's episode. You know, I woke up to the sound of elephants plodding past our room. These elephants are ex-working elephants, so, you know, no need to ring up the switchboard and start waving your green flag or anything, because if they weren't doing this, they would have nothing else to do. And each elephant has its own individual guy that looks after it, so they form this bond. And they love them, you know. They're out there brushing their tusks, looking after them. I got to feed a couple of them. I don't know the difference between a happy elephant and an upset elephant, but these guys look like they're having a great time. But, you know, it was all good, you know. We all saddled up in the morning. We headed out. It was great because today was probably one of my favourite days so far. We were on the dirt a lot and playing in the mud and so forth. Once again, the great thing about coming with Lucky Bastard Motorcycle Tours is that you're on a dirt bike. You're on an XR, whereas a lot of the other companies are on like Chinese bikes, Hondas, even scooters. And we were passing these people in the mud.
Yeah, I know.
And they were just struggling, you know, watching Europeans trying to pull through a scooter through knee-deep mud. It just didn't look like fun, and we just breezed past them with ease.
This day of travelling was, for me, the wet day of travelling. Everything was just wet, like it rained all night and we could hear it bucketing down. And as we were riding out of town, there was like big puddles and a bit slippery and that in certain places.
Yeah, it was really quite serene. Some really nice fields and rice paddy fields, and some guys fishing and throw net fishing and net fishing. And all the kids riding their bicycling to school and bicycling home and stuff. It's really, really good to see. And made our way up to our first large river crossing for the tour.
Which was great. We pulled up to a little section of the river and whistled over the barge man. He came over, we rode our bikes on the barge, and then he took us across.
So that was a pretty cool experience, to sitting on the bike on the barge.
I don't know if he was on lunch or what was going on, but the captain in the barge, he really took his time to come over and fetch us. I thought we might have to turn around at one stage and go the long way around, but made our way across the river and, yeah, did a bit of a matto off the barge, and it was all a little bit off-roady from there. It was it had been raining a lot the night before and the afternoon before, and it looks like it gets a fair bit of rain there, so the tracks were quite muddy and quite ruddy, and you can see there was quite a bit of traffic, so we're just trying to stay on the one big hard line.
In the past, we've been travelling a lot with the rice paddy fields. The roads that go through them, they're elevated up, I guess, for floods or to be raised off so you can travel through them. And they've mainly been concreted, but this one was just all red, black, mud sort of dirt.
And the thing is that when we're riding these dirt tracks, you know, Vietnam can change overnight. You know, they would have been dirt yesterday, but during the night it was just raining solid all night. And when we woke up, it was beautiful, hot and humid again, but all the tracks were just muddy.
And you could just see Chris Warwick's eyes light up. He's going, oh yes, get into this the dirt side of things. And it was all rutted out, and there's only kind of like one line, and that one line was like, it was pretty deep. And we're all lined up to do this one line, and then we see Chris, he's like, rum, 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 rum. He's off, he goes around to this side, he's rup, rup, and around the other side, and through the mud, he's just going sideways, getting it all like looby all over the place. And then he's just done this one line on the outside, and it would have been probably about 4 foot deep. He's just gone straight into it, both legs on the pegs, all out sideways, and just screams through it sideways, comes out and turns around and goes, "Come on, boys," and then we're just like going, "All right." So I went and followed his line and nearly tucked the front wheel on the way coming out. And then as we come out, it was funny because there was another group of people on bikes, but they're on scooters. And it's just, if you're doing these tours, there's no way you're going to get a scooter in the places that we've been.
I nearly lost her.
All made it through unscathed, which is pretty cool. The other foreigners were sort of just looking at us and thinking, "Oh, I wish we were on trail bikes."
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein! You!
Those XR150s just made it look so easy. And they really are. They're a great bike for it if you're ever over this way. Vietnam, Lucky Bastard Motorcycle Tours, XR150s, perfect bikes for this type of riding. Off-road, on-road, potholes, traffic. I mean, the bike's perfect.
So plenty of sections like with mud. Then we come into a few more hills, is raising up and down. It was weird because we were kind of high, but we kept on going up and down, up and down.
The great thing about this trip is we gave Chris Warwick the bike with the loud pipe. So, when you're coming up to a puddle and you can hear the ball, just to lock it up. And Brownie did it a couple of times.
Brownie! Brownie has just picked himself a fight with Chris Warwick. Just got him with a puddle. He'll regret that in about 10 metres. Stick around, let's see what happens.
One of the funniest moments on the trip with me and Chris Warwick is he come up behind, he was behind me, tagging me, and he's just waiting for the right moment to just go flying past me and fill me in with the water. And anyway, I kind of was a bit wary of it. I was like, all right. And then, because he had the exhaust pipe, louder than mine, he's like, "Oh," and I could just hear it. And I was like, "You're kidding me." And just as we come up to this huge big puddle, so I've dropped the anchors and he's just gone flying through, and it's just like, as if Jesus just parted the sea. He's just like going off like that, cacking himself laughing. And the reason was, I guess, because it didn't get me, but actually got our tour guide. He just got filled with this huge, big puddle of water. And he's like, "I can't believe you wet me." But he was all cool. He's all like, "Yay." And he thought, "Okay, you boys, you go ahead. I know that you guys just want to go and play in the dirt and in the water."
And there'll be more of that after the break. You're watching Blokesworld. Welcome back to Blokesworld in the Central Highlands of Vietnam. We've had 3 days of awesome riding so far with Lucky Bastard Motorcycle Tours, and today we're heading to the city of Bun Ma Thuột.
It ended up being like a game of State of Origin all day with these puddles. It was like mate versus mate, wake versus wake. Everyone was just taking each other. There was mud flying. We had a great time.
Bang! There she is!
Anyway, me and Brownie were sort of banging bars from then on. We were like just trying to swamp each other, bang, bang, left, right. Every puddle we seen, we were trying to just bomb each other with water. And
oh! Goal! That's 2-0 to Brown Dog in the Blokesworld Village Championship.
by the time we got halfway down that track, Brownie was up at least 7-1 on me. I couldn't get him once. I was really struggling.
Putted our way through these little villages and these back streets on the dirt, stuff you wouldn't see on a bus. I guess stuff you probably wouldn't even see if you're on a road bike, which was great. Brownie and I saw a couple of kids there playing marbles in the dirt, and we're going, "Oh, mate, how good and simple is life?"
Oh, how awesome is life when it's simple. Wake up, eat, farm, sleep, repeat.
We pulled up. I keep calling them 7-Elevens. I don't know what to call them. They're just little ma and pa shops. And next door to the 7-Eleven is a full, I don't know what you call them, like those shops where it's all full of computer screens and all the kids are playing Fortnite and playing their computer games or whatever they're playing. So we went in there, and there they are. They're all playing computer games except for this one kid. He was near the door, and all he was doing was on YouTube watching videos of chickens. I thought that was fantastic.
I didn't fill in that little kid in the white shirt going to school, did I? Oh, I felt so, because he rode right over to me and I hit a puddle and I went, oh no, and he's in his white shirt on the way to school. I think I just filled in a local with that puddle.
We had a couple of drinks and then we headed 2 doors down and had a great lunch. Once again, I think total cost for like the 6 of us to eat would have been about $10. Barbecued pork with rice, absolutely awesome, you know. And it's just not the meals here are great, it's the condiments you get with them, you know, all the little sauces and stuff that you can put on. Just brilliant food. After we filled up with food, we jumped back on the bikes and then we made our way through the villages.
Just drying their rice out on the road.
And back up sort of these winding hills. I know the support vehicle was going to follow us because we were on our way to see this waterfall. And when we were actually riding through them, I was just thinking to myself, how's the support vehicle going to get through here? Because it's a real Russian roulette with the puddles here. You can, you know, hit one puddle that might be a couple centimetres deep and then you can go into the next one and lose your whole front tyre, you know. So I was just thinking to myself, my God, how's the Ford Transit going to get through here? But they did. A bit late, I might say. But, you know, as we made our way up through these tracks, we were making our way back up to the top. We got to a place where we decided to be a great place for props to get the drone out and do some flying. We're up at the top of this massive dam and where they got this, basically, they store all the water and slowly release it in for the waterfalls. And it was great because we got up there and we were waiting for the van. We would have been there for about 20 minutes, which is enough for Chris Warwick to get cabin fever. So he said to Brownie, come on, mate, let's go down there and ride that river. And I said to myself, all right, boys, let's make sure you got full GoPros because whenever you two team up, something's going to go down. And sure enough, they would disappear and I could hear them laughing even from like 2 kilometres away up through the valley. And then all of a sudden I could see Brownie going through the river. What looked like Brownie, I could just see shoulders above the water. So that was hysterical.
And we'll get a close-up view of what happened down by the river right after this break.
That's right, we are about to go to a commercial break, but before we do, we've got this awesome 4-pack of sauces to give away to one lucky Blokesworld viewer. And this week, that viewer is, camera 3, what's his name?
Chris Hoskin.
Chris Hoskins, and guess what, mate? You've struck gold. You live in Ballarat and you just won a Blokesworld competition. Congratulations. Get everything you need for your next Mexican party from chilimojo.com.au. I'm out of here. Here's a commercial break. Hey, if you just joined us, you're watching Blokesworld in Vietnam. We're on day 4. We've just left Luck Lake and we're on our way to Bumatuk City. Sit back, relax and enjoy the ride.
There was a really cool river. Obviously, it used to be a natural river, but they put a dam in now, so it's pretty chaotic and lots of rapids and like white water sort of stuff. And yeah, it was like, Brownie, yeah, we've got to go down and check that out. And so yeah, we made our way down to the river. And if you're going to cross deep water, you always sort of go for the wrinkly water and try and stick to the shallow water, which is where all the wrinkles and stuff are. And halfway across, I started getting boot deep. And then the knees went under.
He's putting the stand down to see where it is. The boys are up there.
Jumped off the bike quickly, just held one handlebar and just waded a couple of metres in, and it was still only knee deep, a little bit deeper than what I've been going. So I was like, yeah, I reckon we'll make that. And so I just sort of de-weighted the bike and just sort of went through really slowly because I didn't want to lose the bike down the rapids. So
Yeah, boy.
bombed it through and then was like, come on, Brownie.
Come on, Brownie. Crowd's waiting.
Chris being Chris, you're going in and out, and off he goes. He goes, see, Brownie, you'll be right. I'm going, yeah, I know, but I'm probably about 140 kilos lighter than you. I'm going to be like driftwood floating downstream. And anyway, he's going, no, come on. And yeah, he's egging me on. So I was like, righto. So I get in there, I'm coming along, and then get to this spot where it's deep, and I could just feel the front end just like going downstream a little bit. All right, so it's,
Whoa, she gets deep here. Oh, I'm floating.
Yeah, boy.
all enough and made it through it and come out the other side. I was like, oh, that felt pretty good. And then we off when Chris was doing his thing like a mountain goat on the rocks, and yeah, it was pretty impressive to see, like, because the rocks are all shiny and slippery, and yeah, he's picking these veins of rock sections where he's just riding through and making it through it.
Yeah, we made it across, and then we were sort of hoping we could go across and up the other side and come around on the bridge, and sort of did a few little rock sections, and then Brownie caught up to me, and I just actually bombed it straight into a big hole.
Oh!
it only looked about this deep, but I actually lost the whole front of the bike. Was completely under. The front fender was like this far underwater. We were just cracked up laughing. So I sort of had to back it up and manhandle it out. And then we got to the other side, got up the bank and thought, oh, we can't get out here, so we're going to have to go back across the river. So we spun the bikes around and made our way back over to the edge, and bam, it was just like my wheel's spinning, but my tyre's not spinning. It's like...
And look what he's actually done here. How are we going to get back with this? Oh yeah, look at that, spinning around.
Spun her off the rim.
Oh, dude.
That's how we do it at Blokesworld.
Yeah.
Burn rubber.
So where are we going to go now, Chris?
Well, we're on the wrong side of the river, so I've got to try and somehow get me and my machine, without drowning, back over to the other side of the river, and with no tyre. I was sort of a little bit worried, but I was like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it now. We'll just have to send it across and hope for the best with absolutely no rear tyre connected with the wheel.
And he's made it. Yeah, buddy.
If you can get through it with a flat tyre and I go down like a bloody bit of driftwood, I'm going to be looking like the world's worst looking rider.
You nearly lost it. Look at him go. Oh, look how shaky that camera is. Oh, look at the short man. The short man syndrome kicking in. Go, Brownie. Woo!
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh,
How was that coming back, mate?
yeah, it's pretty deep.
Awesome, well done, mate.
Thanks.
We'll be back with more Blokesworld after the break.
Welcome back to Blokesworld. If you just joined us, we're in the central highlands of Vietnam. We've just left the town of Block Lake and we're on our way to Bum Tuk City. This is Blokesworld in Vietnam.
If you're going to commit to something and see something that's just all or nothing, this was the moment. Me and Chris were coming down this section and left-hander, and he had on the inside on me this time. And then we swapped over, and then he had a good drive coming out of it. I'm thinking, yes, and I was just that little bit in front of him, but there was a section, there would have been about 4 big, decent water sections across the road that were probably about between 5 and 10 metres each, and they all joined together. So it was the kind of thing where, well, if I'm going to hit this, I can't back off, and I just need to lean back and do a full Robbie Madison aquaplaning across it. And it's just like, nah, this ain't going to happen. So I just jumped on the anchors, and here was Chris, fully committed, like, and I'm talking just head down, like on the gas like this, going through the puddles, and I stopped just in time. I swear to God, he's gone through, and the first puddle like went splash. It was pretty deep. The next one was deep again. The third one, he might have hit neutral, and the front ends dove in like that. And I was just going, oh, and his legs have sort of like come off, and then he's hit a log or a pipe in the puddle, and he's hit it, and he's gone, and bucked him. His legs are flying off the back like that. He goes shooting off to the side. I'm just cacking myself laughing, and then straight away I thought to myself, because Chris is the Incredible Hulk, he handled that so well. If that was me, I would have just been like a slingshot, went off into the bushes for sure.
And from there, we made our way down the hill, down through the pass, down to the waterfall. Now, we were at this waterfall, probably say about 9 years ago. And when we were there, the water was just rushing over the edge. But because we're in this season, they slowly release the water from the dam, so it wasn't like the full waterfall that you can experience at different times of the year. But I must say that it was such a weird thing, because when you think to yourself, man, it's hot, let's go down to the waterfall and cool off, it was absolutely stinking down there. It was like being in a sauna, being on a squash court with 12 fat blokes. But yeah, it was all great. Got back on the bike and then made our way to Bum Tuk City.
No, yeah, heading up the road and there was puddles of water. Same thing. Chris Warwick was playing cat and mouse. He was trying to get to the puddle of water first.
I'd call that one an even one. They both got each other.
So yeah, we were having a bit of fun doing that, but then it started getting a bit darker, and it was sort of like getting a bit sketchy knowing whether it is a puddle or if it is actually a hole that was there. So we kind of backed the game down a bit, and then as we come into the town, it was pretty gnarly. It had poured down before we had got there. It was sort of like trickling when we were there as well too, but we're riding up the roads, and first time experiencing it on this trip, where we're riding along and where you got the lanes where the cars sort of like sit, that's where the water lays on the road. And yeah, cruising along, and all of a sudden you just feel the front end just doing the whole aquaplane sort of thing. It's like, all right, I'm not on that lane yet. It's almost like go by feel. Had the goggles on with the tinted lens at night time and peak hour, dark, water just splashing up on you, aquaplaning. It's just another day in Vietnam where it's just another day, another something different. And yeah, we've had all 4 seasons in, you know, the one trip, and going from the mountains to the sea. It's just been spectacular. Rocked up to our accommodation and it was the best feeling, like our asses were so sore. Went to a restaurant.
We've come to another fantastic restaurant, as recommended by the beautiful Jam Jar. And our mate, I tell you what, he's such hard work, this guy. He's more work than tropical fish. Mark Brandy Brown, he wants some Jack Daniels, he wants some bourbon. So the lovely waitress said, look, I'll drive you to a bottle shop, get on my scooter, let's go get you some bourbon. And check him out. He paints helmets for a living and that's the best one he's ever worn. There's part of your brain going, are we ever going to see him again? And then more importantly is, has he got a camera on? Because if we don't see him, we need the footage. Okay, see you next year.